Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Sunday services at Center for Spiritual Living, Denver. We are a loving and prospering community in the heart of Denver and online. We now conduct hybrid services at the historic Grant Avenue Community Center and Sacred Place, located at 216 South Grant Street, Denver, Colorado. All are welcomed here. A place, space, and face of love. We are a spiritual community practicing universal principles that enrich our lives. We are grateful that you have blessed us with your presence. While online, we'd love to know you're watching with us. Feel free to leave a comment and let everyone appreciate you. With everything going on, life can feel overwhelming. CSL Denver wants you to know we are here for you. Please know that our practitioners are available for personal prayer work. Our licensed spiritual practitioners' names and phone numbers are available on our website at csldenver.org. Or if you have a prayer request, feel free to email it to info@csldenver.org. For your convenience, you'll find clickable links in the description of this broadcast. Rev Zia, along with all our guest speakers, practitioners, service coordinators, and musical inspirations, want you to know how truly grateful we are that you are with us today. Thank you for your continued support and participation in our services, workshops, and events, as well as providing financial contributions to our center. If you're interested in upcoming events and information, we send out weekly newsletters. Sign up by visiting www.csldenver.org. We deliver services in a hybrid format where we meet in person at 216 South Grant Street. We will also continue to live stream all services on Facebook and YouTube every Sunday. Find us on our respective channels as well as on New Thought Media Network. Again, thank you for your precious attention. Now prepare for engaging enlightenment.
There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden where God's grace blooms. There is a garden where everything grows, a beautiful garden where love is sown. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. light and love. You can't have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. Such a beautiful garden. That garden is you.
Good morning. I'm Alice Nutter, a practitioner here at CSL Denver, and I invite you to join me in an invocation. So if you're comfortable, please close your eyes and sit back in your seat and just take in a nice breath, then let it out. And moving into that space and that place that is always there, we are just turning our attention to it more right here, right now. And that knowing as we move into this service that the divine is moving, living and breathing each and every one of us, so that we hear the words that Reverend Chris has to share with us and take it into our heart, that we hear the music from Susan Clark and from my reading, and just knowing that everything is in the divine right action, divine right place, the divine right here and now. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for Center for Spiritual Living Denver. I'm so grateful for this teaching. I'm so grateful for each beloved person who has decided to show up here today, whether in person or online, just knowing the truth of who they are, and that as they go out into the rest of their day and their week and their lives, that they take that with them, knowing the truth of who they are. I'm so grateful. And from that place of gratitude, I release this into that one mind, that one heart, knowing that all is well, and it is so. And so it is. So there's a gentleman on Facebook who I follow. His name is Sean Dietrich. He's also goes by Sean of the South. He's a good old boy from the South. And he just has these heart-opening posts. And so this one is, I really like this one. In a few weeks, my wife and I will be walking 500 miles unless we die before we finish. We will be walking the Camino de Santiago, a medieval religious pathway across Spain. We will be on foot with backpacks, and we shall not be called hikers, but in the ancient Spanish tongue, locos americanos con mochilas. The preparations are underway. Jamie and I have been walking a lot lately. We must walk, so got to get in shape, because in Spain, we will be walking 14 miles per day in hopes of finishing the route before my 103rd birthday. Wow. We have been training every day. A lot of people see me trudging along in downtown Birmingham wearing a large backpack, wearing a general countenance of misery, standing on a street corner, waiting for a red light. And these people usually give me pocket change. The most common question I am asked is, why? People want to know why two middle-aged taxpayers are spending their hard-earned cash to travel to Spain for the privilege of living like homeless persons for upwards of 2 months. The answer is simple, because my wife said so. No, I'm only kidding, sort of. The honest answer is, and this is the truth, I can't put my finger on why. What I can put my finger on is that I am the same age my father was when he died, and this has really affected me this year. My dad was a good man whose life was half lived. He was a responsible homeowner, a hard worker, and he diligently changed the oil every 11 miles. But I never saw him really live. I never saw him take care of his own human spirit. And so the main reason I am walking the Camino, and I don't mean to reach for melodrama here, is to find God. Sure, I've already found him, of course, but a lot of times I forget where he is. He's probably been talking to me, telling me all sorts of wonderful mysteries of the universe, but I couldn't hear him because I've been extremely busy playing on my phone. Also, I'm walking the Camino because I've been married 22 years to a woman who is the greatest thing to ever happen to me. And sometimes I forget just how miraculous it is that a guy who hasn't emptied the dishwasher in 22 years is still in a committed relationship. I'm walking because sometimes I get so busy, so confused, so weighed down by my own self-centeredness that I forget why I'm here. I forget what it's all about. I forget that the meaning of life isn't to pay the bills and cut the grass. I believe the meaning of life is to give life meaning. So anyway, that's why I'm walking 500 miles unless I die first. And from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, and it's from this thing called You, chapter 13 or 12. It is right that you live a more abundant life. The more largely you live, the more completely life itself will be expressed through you. It is right that we all should seek greater happiness for ourselves and for others. And now let's hear some music from Susan Clark singing Janice Stanfield's True Calling.
Hello, CSL Denver. Susan Clark with you once again to provide some music for your service. I picked out another song today by Janice Stanfield. And Jan is kind of my go-to. I've covered a lot of her tunes because her tunes cover a lot of subjects that fit just right with our New Thought philosophy. And this song of hers is called True Calling. When you hear a voice no one else can hear, and it's clear and loud ringing in your ear, and you finally know what it's time to do, that's your true calling, calling you. That's your true calling, calling you. When your heart's wide open 'cause your mind's been changed, and the dreams you dream are not the same. There's a gate that's open you can walk right through. That's your true calling, calling you. Your true calling, calling you. You ask yourself, is this a voice I can trust? You think you can't, but you know that you must. You're afraid you'll fall if you let go, but there's only one way you'll ever know. Those wings you keep folded are meant to be used when your true calling's calling you. When your true calling's calling you. You ask yourself, is this a voice I can trust? You think you can't, but you know that you must. When your heart's wide open 'cause your mind's been changed, and the dreams you dream, they're not the same. There's a gate that's open you can walk right through. That's your true calling, calling you. That's your true calling, calling you. Still you ask yourself, is this a voice I can trust? You think you can't, but you know that you must trust. There's a gate wide open you can walk right through. That's your true calling, calling you. 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 So you better pick up the phone and answer. Thank you.
So we are very excited today to have our new guest speaker to CSL Denver, Reverend Chris Lahiff. Lahiff? Did I say it right? Yay, I'm so excited. Reverend Chris is a licensed, oh, come on. Now, of course, my iPad decides to. It's a licensed minister by Centers for Spiritual Living and has been serving as spiritual director of CSL Cape Coral, Florida since the start of 2023. Chris's Science of Mind education began in 2009 at Mile High Church in Lakewood, Colorado, where he completed the prerequisites for practitioner studies, followed by online training while living in Cleveland, Ohio. He is fortunate to have served at Miracle CSL in Cleveland, Connecticut CSL in Middletown, Orlando CSL, Florida, and co-founded Soul Evolution Collaborative online as he completed the ministerial program of the Holmes Institute and School of Spiritual Leadership. Chris's core belief is that we are all one and love is all that matters. So please help me welcome Reverend Chris Lahiff.
Thank you, Alice. So good morning and grand rising.
Good morning.
So first I want to thank Reverend Elzia for inviting me to be here, and I want to thank all of you for being here as well, because that's how the world changes. So I appreciate you. When Alice sent me the information for the talk, I wanted to come up with some sort of an analogy that gets us to the feeling that I want us to look at today. So the title is Reclaiming One's Center. So the analogy that I came up with is actually from my life, and it was from around the age of like 12 or 13. My scout troop that I was in, we went for a day trip, cross-country skiing, Happy Jack Recreation Area up in Southeast Wyoming. It was just a beautiful day. So we get there, we get all of our gear on, we have our day packs and our lunch, and we all take off. Shortly thereafter, a couple of us decide we want to kind of adventure on our own. And so we veer off and we go about our days, lovely, sitting around, skiing around, having lunch. And at some point, we notice like there's a cloud coming in. It's starting to get a little chillier. My toes are starting to get a little cold and my fingers are starting to hurt. And I'm like, I think this is, we should probably be getting back. We weren't paying attention to time, nothing. And so we decided we need to go back. Which way? And we have no idea which way. We're kind of like looking around, and we lost all the tracks. We lost all the people. We recognized that we haven't seen anybody from our troop for hours. We're lost. Oh no. And so we kind of agree on one direction to go. Now we're 13-year-olds, so none of us want to admit that we're scared. But as it's starting to get darker, the clouds are getting bigger, the sun starts to go down, and I'm really getting cold. And how I knew I was scared is because things that started going through my head. And one of them was, I know when you freeze to death, you don't just freeze to death. It happens when you get tired and then you sit down for a little while and then you just fall asleep. That's what's going through my head. And that's how I knew, I'm a little scared here. But I'm not wanting to admit it. Don't want to panic. But anyway, we keep heading in the direction we think we're supposed to go in. And finally, we run into a barbed wire fence. And so, we're in Colorado, so I'm guessing there's a lot of us that are familiar with outdooring. And the saying is, when you get lost, you find a stream or a road or a path or a fence, something like that, and then you follow it. Eventually, you're going to run into something. So again, we kind of agreed, I think it's that way. We start moving along the fence, and eventually, we get up to the top of the hill. There's the parking lot. We could see the cars. And it was just this feeling of relief. I wouldn't have admitted it back then, but I was a little fearful. That feeling of relief in that moment of just I'm going to be okay. Back home in Cheyenne, Wyoming, there might have been things going on in my life that weren't ideal. But in that one moment, everything was glorious. Everything was just perfect. That's the feeling of getting back into our center that today's theme is all about. There's that feeling. So when the world out here is weighing us down, when it's loud, when it's divisive and angry, when I get activated myself, that's the time to reclaim that center. The first time that I heard this kind of concept was from Eckhart Tolle, who wrote The Power of Now. And he was talking about the same idea that in this now moment, if you're going within, no matter what's going on, can you tell yourself that for right now, everything's okay? I'm activated. There's stuff going on in the world that I want to go speak to. I want to, make change. There's stuff going on in my own family life that needs change, that needs improvement or growth. But if I can sit down and be still in this one moment, all of that stuff, it dissipates for just a little while. It's like a little respite that we can just be okay. So that's from Eckhart Tolle, who, his claim to fame happened around like 1997 or so. But if Diego will pull up the next slide, this is Ernest Holmes. Okay, there it is. No matter how turbulent the waves may be on the ocean of your experience, beneath there is a changeless peace. And that's from the founder of this philosophy, Ernest Holmes, from his radio show in like 1960-ish. I found the quote on a website called Spiritual Passages. So if you're not familiar with the website and you like New Thought quotes and all sorts, like any philosophy, all philosophies, this guy, Scott Aubrey's got a wonderful website. So anyway, that's Ernest Holmes. A long time before Eckhart Tolle, he's saying the exact same thing. The surface of the ocean, our outdoor life, there's the waves. But within, do you all know what I'm talking about? You know that. You've touched that place, feel it within. That is a temporary relief that we can go to at any time. Now, one thing that I always have to point out is not everybody's the same. And at different times in your life, one philosophy or one practice might work better than another. But I never want to minimize anybody that's experienced trauma or that's in the midst of trauma or PTSD, people that go through amazingly challenging life situations. I never want to minimize that. And I don't want to trite or downplay people's challenges, because it's a real thing. And at the same time, I still want to encourage myself. It was perfect that this was the talk that came up, because this is right where I'm at right now. To play with it, to explore, and to look within and just lean into that presence. I watched last week, Reverend Elzia was talking about intuition. And intuition is absolutely one of our tools. He brought up, Reverend Elzia did, that when the big challenges come up in life and what challenges we're experiencing collectively, we might need more than just our five senses to navigate through it. And how many people, that sixth sense might be the last place that we go to. We're so caught up in our five senses that we're forgetting maybe one of our best qualities and our best sources of strength, of inspiration, of power. So in the science of mind, as people that have been here for a while, we know that everything begins in thought. It begins in mind. Everything that was created, everything that's man-made, absolutely. It was somebody's idea first. And so what the thoughts that we hold, it's a vibration. Our thoughts don't create, but our thoughts do get us into a place of feeling, of sensing. So when you are in a vibration that is less than, if you're in a vibration that is feeling the animosity from the world or feeling stressed, if you're feeling anger towards someone else, unconsciously we create from that place. And so the energy that we're putting out is less likely to be helpful or conducive to us, and more likely to cause us to unintentionally sabotage ourselves. It's subtle, but it happens. So if our thoughts are creating our experience of the reality, which they do through our perception and the stories we tell ourselves, if we're letting what is going on out there influencing our thoughts, we've got it backwards. And that's where I find myself all the time. And it seems appropriate because it seems pressing. There's a lot of issues in the world that, depending on where you are, what strikes you. Like I never want to bring up politics, but I can say that no matter where you're at on the political spectrum, there's something in your life, something in the world right now that you don't like, or maybe that's causing fear. And so the risk here is knowing that thought creates our reality. is instead of us being intentional with what we hold within and then going forward in the world with that, what's happening out there is affecting our inner. So we've given up that control and we're always playing survival mode. We're always in catch up. So to remember that feeling within, like when I was lost and all of a sudden, oh, right now, everything is absolutely okay. And then as soon as I can dissipate that, then I feel better. So going back into like about 2009, before I found this philosophy, I was in a bit of a struggle, and what helped pull me out, it was right before I found the Science of Mind, and it was because of this author that I did. And it was Wayne Dyer. And I'll just divulge. At that point, I was about 16 months alcohol-free. Before that, I had challenges in my life, problems that I caused. So at this point, in 16 months of clean living, I felt like I should be on cloud nine. I felt like I should be just happy, everything. I'm not messing things up anymore because of that. There's still challenges, but why aren't I happy? And not even just not happy. I'm at like my lowest point, one of my lowest points in my life. And found an old Wayne Dyer book, was part of a whole combination of things that came together that pulled me out of that slump. But it was Wayne Dyer in the book Real Magic, and he said, if your life is not ideal, the number one most important thing to do is to start a meditation program. And that's stuck with me ever since then. So if Diego will pull up the next slide, one of Ernest Holmes' favorite teachers, he referred to him as the master teacher, was Jesus. And he said this, but seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. So all those things out in the world that we want to fix and change, or we want to acquire, or whatever it is that we want to do, seek that place within first. And when you're good here, then those things that are out there, they're already yours. They come to you as you need them. And you're not longing for something that you don't have. You're recognizing what you do have. Now, that kingdom, seek the kingdom and his glory. It's Centers for Spiritual Living. I know, like the G word, God, can throw a lot of people off. Some people resonate with it and some don't. So it doesn't matter what we call it. It's just the kingdom of heaven is simply a state of mind. We are all consciousness. We are conscious beings. And that is that thought that we stem out of. And so by seeking as frequently as we can that place, we're visiting the place of heaven within. And when we do that, everything out here gets a little softer. It's a little easier to navigate. And we become more empowered to do those things that we want to do, where we feel like we're called to take action. If we're constantly in that survival mode, we're showing up in places that frenetic energy within us, we find it where we go. Have you noticed that? For this last little piece, I know Reverend Elzia loves the call to action. And so my call to action today, if Diego will pull up that final slide. Do you remember the old texting? This BRB was like one of the originals. It's like the OG texts that I had to look it up because I knew what it meant to me, but you never know, as texting lingo evolves, I might say something that has evolved into something totally different. I remember the first time in Florida driving down the street and I saw a WTF sticker on the back of a car. And I was like, on the car? And I was like, oh, welcome to Florida. John knows. So anyway, BRB, it was like from the old T9 days. And I thought that this would be a good kind of mnemonic to be our call to action. When we find ourselves activated, find ourselves upset, the example I want to use, because it happened yesterday, is with my own children. It was a busy day yesterday. It was yesterday. All kinds of stuff. dog needed groomed. My kids needed running around because they're kids. Lots of stuff going on. At some point, though, I found myself kind of overwhelmed. And I didn't think about it. I knew I was. But I didn't think about it until I got overly activated or overly, irritated at my children, because whatever they were doing was so outrageous that it shook my cool. And I noticed as I was speaking to them in a way that I wouldn't like to, like, oh, that's my cue. I need to BRB. I'll be right back. So when we see that in the world, when you find yourself like just in a place of maybe fear or overwhelm, or just in a place when you're out of alignment, and you can even do this before you go into a better place or into a place of something that you want to do well. Just be right back. So the first step is to step away from the noise, step away, just sit down, breathe. The word meditation throws a lot of people off. It doesn't need a label. We're just sitting. Just sit and breathe and be. That's that first part of be right back. Just be. And then feel into that place of like, right now, everything's okay. Now, the world around me could be chaotic. As long as I'm not in physical danger at this moment, I know that I am okay. And so then we get to the R, we right ourselves. So that's all we're doing. We're just squaring ourselves up. We're aligning with that deeper part of ourselves and just feeling it and taking as long as it takes until sometimes it's a physical reaction that you're trying to not escape from, but you're trying to work through. Sometimes it's just a mental thing, but staying in that place just long enough till you feel that little twist. Kind of like seeing those cars in the parking lot. There's that moment where you're like, and I've found myself doing that a couple times recently, to where like I was having a physical reaction of anxiety, of muscle twitches, and like, oh my God. So combining, that going within, if you're familiar with box breathing or other breath techniques, it's a powerful combination. So I won't go into it, but I recommend looking up box breathing. But just getting into your state and righting yourself with that one presence. And then you go back. Then you're back into the world. But now you're coming from a deeper place, a place that's more aligned. You're more present, you're more focused, and you're more empowered. That is what's there at the center of ourselves. So we'll just BRB. So with that, if we'll just take it within for just a moment, I just invite you to get comfortable into your space. However you like to relax into the now moment. And I bring our attention to whatever you see as something bigger than yourself. Something bigger. Maybe it's the universe. Maybe you like the idea of a creator. Maybe it's nature. It's all one consciousness, one mind. Everything that exists is this one thing. When you break it all down to the energy, to the thought that we are all truly one. So as I open up to this, I invite each and every person to focus on your heart center. Imagine yourself opening up and imagine that light of the divine pouring in, that in this now moment, right now, everything is okay. This is the part of us that is eternal and infinite. We have our thinking, talking human self, and behind it, we have that deeper presence that's always there. And it's the same presence in me, that's the same presence in you, the same presence in every living thing and every non-living thing. There's only that one, what I call love with a capital L. It's the force of the universe, that life force energy that connects, inspires, moves, grows, expands, and inspires. So as we tap into that energy is always there with us. May it make itself more clear. May we remember to sit with it, to be with it, to lean into it in our times of distress so that we can go back into the world with that new sense of empowerment that comes from within, that one infinite divine love. So I affirm and avow with these words that right now this energy is powerful. This energy is with everyone hearing these words. This energy is with everyone on their own unique individual paths, that we're all here expanding, shifting together. As we talk about a shift in consciousness, this is where it begins. It begins within each and every single individual. As we make a shift to do one thing out of our norm, we literally improve the world. So in gratitude for all that is, gratitude for each and every person on their path who recognizes that there is something bigger, and all those who are here to help us find our way, I say thank you for it all. I say thank you for the creative mechanism of this one universe that takes our thoughts, our words, and our intentions and makes it into our reality. I say thank you for that. And I say thank you for the inspiration, the words, the feelings that come from the infinite that lift us up one at a time. And affirming that that is so, that this world is evolving into that place that works for everyone. I say thank you, and I let these words go, knowing it's already done in the mind of spirit, and so it is. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thank you, Reverend Chris. Be right back. I need to remember that. So now is the time for our offertory. We are so grateful and blessed for everyone's support of CSL Denver, whether it's in time, treasure, or talent, and especially during these times of change. A lot of stuff, as he said, moving, going, all kinds of things happening. So whether this is your first time joining us or you're a returning community member, we want to thank you for your continuing financial support of the important work we are striving to provide. Right now, there are several ways you can make your financial contribution to Center for Spiritual Living Denver, and the information is running across the bottom of the screen, either mailing a check to our P.O. box, going onto our website and donating with a credit card, or there's a text to give, or giving in person today. So we want to thank everybody for that. And we have an affirmation that our original our founding minister, Reverend Jim Chandler, created, and we've been saying this ever since the time immemorial. So please repeat with me our affirmation. This perfect gift is spirit and form, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive, and so it is. And we have a few announcements. We still have copies of the March-April magazine that are available for sale for $7. Plus, we have some older magazines that are for free. So please help yourselves to those. And right now, the Science Mind magazine is a bi-monthly magazine. So, and today, right after service, until about 12 noon, we will have our Divine Dialogue. And that's where we put the chairs in a circle and we just have a discussion about anything that's on our mind spiritually, or anything that Reverend Chris had to say in his talk or whatever. So please join us. We'll have some goodies to eat and some coffee to drink and go from there. And then also next Sunday, Rumi Engineer is going to be, we have our community cafe. And this is what we do every fourth Sunday of every month is we keep the tables up, we bring food to share, we bring a friend if we choose, and we just, one of the practitioners or Reverend Elzia make a presentation. And so Rumi's going to be talking, we've got spring coming up on March 20th. And your spirit is waking up, and so we're gonna have, it's called Nowruz. Is that Nowruz? That's the Persian New Year. So we'll be talking about the spring equinox, the Nowruz, and just beginning the renewal of spring. So please come and join us, and Rumi will make his presentation on that. And he's also a Zoroastrian parapriest as well as a CSL practitioner. Okay, let's see. And we won't be recording this, so you have to do it in person. And we have an upcoming class every Wednesday in April. Back last month when Elzia did his presentation on sacred astrology, everybody was excited about it. And so we have got, I've got handouts over there. And so the class is called Sacred Astrology, Tapping into Our Inner Wisdom. So it's 5 Wednesdays, April 2nd through the 30th from 6:30 to 9, and it's on Zoom. It's not in person, it's on Zoom. And it's $125 per person, and you will get your own personal astrology chart run by that. And then Elzia will teach us how to use our charts and how to make have the astrology work for us in our lives. And let's see. If you would like to hear some good news of the world to affirm the good in the world, we have a link on our Facebook page called And Now the Good News. This program is put together by New Thought Media Network and airs on Fridays at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, or you can watch these anytime during the week. Just go to the Center for Spiritual Living Denver Facebook page and click on any post that says, And Now the Good News. And they have some great stories. And some days, you know, like Reverend Chris was saying yesterday, just to take a break and go listen to And Now the Good News and just hear some good news stories. And New Thought Media Network has over 40 hours of weekly broadcast programs. And so we invite you to go to www.ntmedia.org and check out what they have. There's something for everyone. I mean, they've got Spanish programs, they've got prayers, morning and evening, and all kinds of different programs and stuff. So we are so truly blessed by everyone who has chosen to support CSL Denver by showing up on Sundays or watching our services online. We know that as we move through the rest of this year, the Divine Beloved is guiding and loving each and every one of us. So thank you for joining us. And now we'll listen to Karen Drucker singing, And I'm So Grateful.
Hey, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all that I have. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all that I have. Hey! Oh yeah. Grateful. I just say I am so grateful every day for all I have. Every day. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all I have. Every day I say it. Grateful. How I'm grateful. Every day. Oh yeah. I am so grateful. Oh yeah. So grateful. 'Cause I accept and I receive. I am so grateful. Oh yes, I am. I am so grateful. Hey, grateful. I just